Hi everyone, Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So I have a mask on, so my voice is a little bit muffled. What I have today is I'm going to do some resin work. So I'm just going to do some letters and I'm going to use alcohol inks with the white to kind of get those like effects where you get, I think they call it like feathering. So I'm using a an art resin. So I found when I used my cast resin, I couldn't get it working right. So I'm going to be doing it with my art resin again, which I have got good results before. So I'm going to do some letters, and if I've got extra left over, then I'll do other letters. So first of all, I'll pour it all in. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio. And I've mixed it up into this cup, but I actually want it in this cup because I can pour a little bit better. So I've stirred it quite a bit. There's lots of bubbles in there still. Hopefully they will come out once it starts getting done. So I'm going to pour the whole lot into here and then just probably give it another quick little stir, just so I know that everything is incorporated really well. Yeah, so I tried this with my casting resin, but it's so much more liquidy. I'm not used to it because I have only just recently got a casting resin. So I'm still learning how to do that properly. So I thought I'll go back to what I know and we will try that out. So this was pretty well mixed in already. I just wanted to make sure that by pouring it out the cup I didn't get any little bits that I hadn't mixed through properly. And I could have way too much resin here. I'm not 100% sure. So what I got to do is pinch it so it's at a point. And I think I will get myself another little stick. Now I've done these. This is a mold where the letters come out, so the base is going to be the right way round. There's two different types of lettering molds, where this way would be the correct way round, or the base would be the correct way round. So I've actually got both now because this is the one I actually originally wanted. So I'm gonna get that to a point. And I'm pouring it in till it's about full. When I say about, I mean I don't want it to be 100% full. I need a little bit of room for my alcohol inks. Oops, little drop. Oh, what is that? Now I've got, I don't know how, a piece of hair got in there already, but it did. Whoa, that's quite full, that one. I'm gonna have too much resin here, but that's fine. So first of all, I'm just decanting it into the molds. Might as well do something else while I've got this extra resin. I'll just do something different. A few more letters for a different project. Sorry if I go quiet. I do that when I'm concentrating. And it's pretty cold at the moment. Let me just work out. So the resin's a lot slower, a lot thicker. Okay, I've got tons of resin left over. I'm going to have to quickly work out where I'm going to put this. I might slide this mold up to the top there. Hope it's still in view of you guys. And get myself a coaster mold. Might have too much for this too. Alright, we're getting there. I think I'll just use this last little bit just to fill up some butterflies. These are the hard things to fill up because they're actually really tiny. Oops. Oh, I'm just going to make a mess. So I think I might just go like that. Not ideal, but don't want to take too long either and end up ruining the main thing I'm trying to do because I've got too much resin. Okay, there's a tiniest little bit left, but I'm not going to stress over that. Alright, so actually I wonder, I actually might try something. No, I won't. I haven't got time. Okay, I've got to take my gloves off because they're a bit sticky. I might put some fresh ones on. So now it's just a matter of putting colour into the letters and then putting white over that, so then you get that wispy type. Oh, luckily that didn't go on one of them. That wispy type of resin. So got to work out the colours. So I've got a little bit of this. Hopefully I've got enough. This bottle is not the best. So because I decant some of my colours into different bottles, the bottles that I put them into aren't always as good, and I got to kind of figure out get a new bottle for it, I think. I think I'm going to run out of this colour. Oh. Even this one's being a little bit difficult. Okay, now the white. Make sure the white is really, really, really well shaken up. So give that a really good shake. And then I just want to go over the colours. But because the purple took over a little bit more, I'm going to start at the bottom, and then it will push that blue back up into the purple area. So So as this sinks down, it pushes the other colours down with it, and you get these really cool effects. So you can see them all moving around. See how the colours are getting more different. So you can sometimes go back in and add a little bit more white. I might do in a couple of spots. Looks like up here I might. These are all still reacting underneath where we might not be able to see them doing something. They actually still are. Now, this white can also sometimes be a little bit heavy. and go all the way to the bottom and make kind of like blobs. I like that look. Some people do, some people don't. But I do, so I actually don't mind if that's how it actually turns out. So there's the letters. Ultimately, we're not going to be able to see how it all turns out until it's completed. But that's that process done. So hopefully you guys can actually learn what I've done. And I poured this in straight away. Like they weren't really in there for too long. I'm going to get to this one. The only thing I might do with this one is before I put anything in, I am going to give it a quick little torch to get rid of those surface bubbles. It actually shouldn't matter too much because this will be the base of the coaster anyway. And this was just me not wanting to waste the resin. So let's pick a couple of colours. What should we go for? I'm not 100% sure myself. I wonder if we went grey and green, would they look good together? Let's give that a go. So I'm just going to do some areas. And then I'm just going to go in some other parts with the green. Don't want to go too much. Now back to the white, which is getting a little bit low, I think. So they're all reacting. Sorry. They're all reacting and doing stuff. So now I've got these ones. What do I do with those? Do I just put alcohol ink in them? Do I try and do the same effects? I'm just going to do some colours. Oops, don't really want too much. There's not a lot of resin in these, so I don't want to overdo it with colour, because then it makes it harder for them to actually dry and bond properly. I think I'm just making a big mess of this butterfly mold. I just don't like wasting inks or resin, so I just think to myself I might as well use it while I've got it here. And same thing, I'll use this white, and if it runs out, then I'll just have to grab a different white. I just want to put 2 drops in. the whites ran out. I do have another white in a different brand. So different brands will give you different results. Okay, so ultimately what I've done is, that was just a paper mill white. So what I've done is I've done my letters, I've done a coaster with the leftover, and I've done a bunch of butterflies. The butterflies I make super thin, so then I can add them into, like if I want to make a coaster, I can put a couple of butterflies in there or something like that. The coaster is relatively full. It's not domed, but it's full enough. And the letters aren't domed either, but I don't always want to, because then if I put too much in them, then I can't add the alcohol ink because they start to overflow. So ultimately, this is what I've got. So we won't really know how cool this all looks until I demold them, which will probably end up being tomorrow. I think this one needs to be left overnight, especially now that it's a bit cold in winter. In summer it might be a little bit quicker. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So now we just have to let these settle in, wait. As you can see, there's cool effects on this side. We just can't tell what the other side looks like until it is dry. And don't try and pick it up so you can have a look underneath. I've made that mistake of doing that once before, and because the molds are flexible and soft, the resin just started pouring all out of the side. Like, it was a really stupid thing for me to do, but yeah, afterwards I go, why did I even do that? But ultimately, this is what we've got. So hopefully we'll see something cool. Crossing my fingers, and I'll be with you tomorrow. Well, you'll see it in a few seconds, but it'll be tomorrow when we all get to see it. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye. Hi everybody. Ben here from Art Less Ordinary. So we're back to unmold the alcohol ink that I did. So I've done a couple already, unmolded them, and they have turned out perfect, just the way I wanted. So the white sank all the way to the bottom, but it leaves these really cool kind of blotchy patterns which get the colour in them. So I'll bring you down for a close-up after, but if you look from the side you can see that it's wisped down, and where some parts of it have hit the bottom, it's just given a really, really cool pattern. So really happy with that. This one here, I'm unsure if it's going to have worked. I think it might have sank too much and made too many blobs on the bottom, but it was extra resin and I don't like wasting it. So I thought, why not just use it up and do a test, see how it looks. Yeah, see, it did. Some spots where it sank all the way through, where I put the drop, it's gone all the way to the bottom and just left these little blobs. It has made a cool pattern inside of it as well, but the blobs just kind of detract from, in this style they detract, in this style they look good. So it just depends what you're actually going for. Some really cool effects in there, but not what I was planning for. But in saying that, you can always use a coaster. So I just use this on the patio or somewhere where I don't really need it to be fancy. It's just something for a bit of interest. But we'll take out these letters. So it's just a matter of unmolding them. They're cured, but they're slightly bendy, so I just always be a little bit careful when I take them out. But these colours turned out awesome. So that's why I try and do one colour at one end, one colour at the other end, and then you get this blending of colours in between where they mix. because alcohol inks will mix. If I was to do this with other stuff, they wouldn't mix so much. Like micas and that wouldn't. That's cool. So they've all done what I wanted them to do. All I have to make sure is that when I put them down, that I just double check that they are flat. Because when you take them out the mold, they sometimes bend a slight amount. If I left them in the mold for another day, they'll probably be fine, but I need to get them out. And there's some parts where I did add extra white, and you can see that a little bit in some of them. But I'm actually really, really pleased. That one is upside down. So I'll move that out of the way. I always put my molds up upside down, just so there's no dust that gets settled in them. Because dust does settle everywhere, I can tell you now. You can try as much as you like. Dust will find its way. Just moving these up so they're in a bit better light. And my butterflies, I might try and demold them. I don't want them to bend too much. So as these were thinner, they don't get, and they were the last ones for me to put ink in, they haven't got as much sinking in them because they've started to cure a little bit before the alcohol ink went through. But this is, again, leftover resin, so I don't actually mind too much because they're all going to be slightly different anyway. And these are just like little embellishments that I like to make. So just little bits and pieces that I can use to make something a little bit more pretty. So there's one of each colour of the butterflies. So I won't bother demolding all of them. I think I'm just going to get the same type of results from each. Maybe I'll just do two so I can show you two of each. That should be that. I've got a feeling that one is that colour. Looks a little bit different. Yeah, this one here is thinner again, so it's a lot more bendier. The thinner they are, the more longer it will take to cure. But I don't want these to be thick when I do the butterflies, because if I was to use them in a coaster, I actually need them to stay quite thin. So I'm going to bring you down so you can see how these look. But ultimately, this is me using, pardon me, a brand of resin called resin. I get this locally here in Western Australia. And this one here is liquid glass. So I've got to do more testing with the casting resin. These here are done with a top coat type of resin. So they turn out great. But I'm still to learn how to get the same effects with the casting resin, because the casting resin is really thin. And I haven't used it enough to actually know how for it to work. So I just got to do more testing. So it's resin. Most of my alcohol inks were pinata. I think these ones here might have been the paper mill. But these ones were pinata, so was that one. And the white is also the pinata. So let's come down and have a close-up. Okay, so here we are. So as you can see, from a distance, they actually look quite cool. Now we'll come in closer.
you don't get the full effect when you actually see it in camera. They look 10 times or 100 times better in real life. But can you see how there's some sinkage? So it's given these kind of half see-through, half blobby effects. Don't know how close I can get to get the details. But see, well, let's get right up close. See how they've got these like kind of little brain patterns in them? That's where the white sinks down and touches the bottom. It does it in not as one piece, but kind of in a parts, so you get this cool effects. But I love them. I've done these with quite a few different colours, and they've all turned out pretty awesome. Just don't let your resin settle for too long, otherwise it just doesn't sink enough. And here's the butterflies. So let me focus. See how they've done similar but not as much. Some have done more, some have done less. But even inside here, let me focus. Got to hold the camera really still when I'm this close. See how you got those little wispy like bits where it's half sank, but it's not all the way to the bottom. That's in that wing. Yeah, it doesn't like focusing when I'm this close. So it kind of gives the butterfly really cool patterns. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how these turned out. So, there we go. The colours aren't perfect, but see how this one here with the O, you can see the teal at the bottom and the purple at the top. And then you've got where they've mixed, you've kind of got this blue area. But it's not completely solid, it kind of comes and goes as its own. But yeah, this is the coaster. So, just white blobs where it has sank and hit the bottom. All the effects in the background are beautiful. But you do have those blobs where it sank completely. And that's where the initial drop hit. So, but I like all the effects that you get in it. But yeah, so ultimately that is what we have. So I hope you guys like this. You will have to test your own resin. So like I've said, I tried doing this once with the casting resin and it didn't work straight away. I think because it was a bit too fluid. So I've got to learn how to do some times and see if I've got to let it settle for a little bit before I continue. But ultimately, my letters turned out exactly how I wanted them to be. So, super happy. Well, that's it for today, guys. So if you like this video, so comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you soon for another pour. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.